Led fire, humanity launched a spacecraft that would become one of the greatest explorers ever created. Slowly rising atop a pillar of flame and smoke, the machine appeared small and fragile against the vastness of the sky. Yet within that modest structure existed something far greater than metal, wiring, and circuitry alone. It carried humanity's curiosity, imagination, ambition, and the endless desire to understand the universe beyond Earth. Among the gathered observers, only a few could truly comprehend the significance of the moment unfolding before them. Even fewer could imagine that this silent mechanical traveler would one day journey farther than anything ever created by human hands. The mission had originally been designed as a limited scientific expedition expected to survive only long enough to study the outer planets before fading into silence. There were no guarantees that the spacecraft would survive the harsh conditions of deep space. No certainty that its systems would continue functioning beyond a few short years. Yet Voyager 1 would eventually surpass every expectation placed upon it. Its journey became possible because of a rare planetary alignment occurring only once every 176 years. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune aligned in such a precise formation that their gravity created a natural pathway through the outer solar system. Humanity recognized this brief opportunity and seized it with extraordinary precision. Traveling alongside Voyager 1 was its twin spacecraft, Voyager 2, launched separately to follow another path through the outer planets. Together they became humanity's first great explorers of the distant solar system. Voyager 1 itself was roughly the size of a small car, drifting outward into a universe offering no rescue and no second chances. Every component aboard the spacecraft had been designed for a single purpose: survival beyond Earth. What makes the achievement even more astonishing is the era in which Voyager was built. The spacecraft emerged from the technological world of the 1970s, long before modern computers and advanced digital systems existed. Its memory was measured only in kilobytes, and its processing power was weaker than even the simplest electronic devices used today. Engineers relied upon analog systems, mathematical calculations, and extraordinary discipline to prepare the spacecraft for a mission lasting decades. Once Voyager left Earth, there would be no repairs and no possibility of recovery. Every possible failure had to be predicted before launch. Originally, the mission was expected to survive only long enough to reach Jupiter and Saturn. But everything changed when Voyager 1 arrived at Jupiter. The giant planet revealed a reality far more violent and dynamic than scientists had ever imagined. Its moon Io erupted with enormous volcanic explosions, proving for the first time that active geology existed beyond Earth. Jupiter's atmosphere churned endlessly with gigantic storms and chaotic motion on a planetary scale. At its center raged the Great Red Spot, a storm larger than Earth itself that had persisted for centuries. Voyager also discovered faint rings surrounding Jupiter, structures never seen before. Suddenly Jupiter was no longer just a distant planet suspended in darkness. It had become an immense and active system of energy, gravity, storms, and motion. Every signal transmitted back toward Earth forced scientists to rethink what they believed they understood about the outer solar system, the distant reaches of the solar system, moving farther from Earth with every passing year. As the spacecraft traveled onward, sunlight weakened into a faint and distant glow, and the distances between worlds became almost impossible for the human mind to fully comprehend. Ahead waited Saturn, the great ringed giant that for centuries had appeared as a quiet golden object suspended within the darkness of space. For generations, humanity observed the planet only from afar, seeing beauty without truly understanding the astonishing complexity hidden within it. Then, in 1980, Voyager 1 approached Saturn closely for the first time in human history. What it revealed transformed planetary science forever. Saturn's rings were not solid structures as many earlier observers once believed. Instead, they were made of countless particles of ice, dust, and rock orbiting together in delicate gravitational balance around the planet. Each fragment moved independently through space while still contributing to the immense shimmering structure visible from a distance. These particles formed rippling waves, narrow gaps, shifting bands, and intricate patterns stretching endlessly across space like frozen motion suspended in the vacuum itself. Hidden moons carved pathways through the rings with quiet gravitational influence, shaping structures far more complex and elegant than scientists had expected to find. Thin strands twisted together, separated, collided, and reformed in an endless gravitational choreography unfolding silently around the planet. Saturn's moons also revealed ancient and mysterious histories written across frozen surfaces scarred by billions of years of impacts and collisions. Some appeared cold, silent, and unchanged since the earliest formation of the solar system, preserving the memory of an ancient cosmic past. Others hinted at hidden activity beneath their icy exteriors, suggesting that these distant worlds were far more dynamic than anyone had imagined. Among them stood Enceladus, bright and deceptively calm in appearance. Beneath its frozen shell, evidence suggested hidden oceans warmed by internal energy deep below the surface. This discovery raised the possibility that environments capable of supporting life might exist far beyond Earth, hidden beneath layers of ice in the distant outer solar system. For scientists, the implications were enormous. One of humanity's oldest and most profound questions suddenly gained new scientific meaning. Are we alone in the universe? By the end of its planetary mission, Voyager 1 had already surpassed every expectation placed upon it. The spacecraft transformed the outer solar system from a distant abstraction into a vivid and dynamic reality filled with motion, complexity, energy, and mystery. But its journey was still not over. It continued outward beyond Saturn and beyond the known planets into regions where no spacecraft had ever traveled before. Voyager crossed beyond the Kuiper Belt, a distant region filled with ancient icy remnants left behind from the formation of the solar system itself billions of years ago. As it traveled farther outward, the influence of the Sun slowly weakened and the familiar environment of the solar system gradually faded behind it. Eventually the spacecraft crossed a boundary humanity had once only theorized about. It entered interstellar space, the immense region lying between the stars themselves. There, surrounded by near-perfect cosmic silence, Voyager continues drifting endlessly through the darkness. No planets surround it now. No nearby worlds wait ahead for exploration. Only distance, silence, and the endless expanse between the stars. Attached to the spacecraft is one of humanity's most symbolic creations. The Golden Record. A carefully assembled collection of music, greetings, sounds, languages, and images representing life and civilization on Earth. The record was created as a message for an unknown future, perhaps never to be discovered, yet sent into the cosmos anyway as an act of hope written into the universe itself. Perhaps no other intelligence will ever encounter it. Or perhaps, somewhere unimaginably distant in space and time, another civilization may one day discover this fragile artifact drifting through the galaxy. A message from a small world whose inhabitants once looked upward at the stars and wondered whether they were alone. Now Voyager 1 continues its endless journey billions of miles away from Earth. Its signal grows weaker with distance, yet it still carries proof that intelligence once emerged on a small world orbiting an ordinary star and chose to reach outward into the unknown. Not because success was certain. Not because the journey was easy. But because humanity possessed the courage to wonder what existed beyond the horizon. And in making that choice, humanity sent a small part of itself into the infinite darkness between the stars where its journey still continues.